The massive viewing platform of the Galactic Coliseum trembled as 12 different alien species watched in complete silence. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Even the usually chattering Zephyrians had gone completely quiet, their four eyes wide with disbelief. In the center of the arena below, a creature that had destroyed entire star systems was lying on its back like a giant cat enjoying belly rubs. The Void Serpent of Keth Moran, known across the galaxy as the universe's deadliest dragon, was making soft purring sounds that echoed through the massive stadium. Standing next to the dragon was the reason for everyone's shock. A human child, no more than 8 years old, with messy brown hair and a bright yellow dress covered in flower patterns. She had just kissed the dragon on its enormous snout. Commander Zeextal of the Hegemony Fleet gripped the viewing rail so hard his blue knuckles turned white. "This is impossible," he whispered to his aide. "That creature killed the entire population of Zirion Prime in 3 minutes. It ate a moon. It breathes plasma that can melt through battleship armor." The aide, a nervous Quillian named Flit, was frantically taking notes on his datapad. "Sir, the human child appears to have some kind of unknown technology. Perhaps a mind control device? No energy signatures," reported the scanning officer. "No technology at all. She's completely unarmed." Down in the arena, 8-year-old Emma Hartley was giggling as the massive dragon nuzzled against her with its house-sized head. The creature's scales, which normally glowed with deadly radiation, were now showing soft pastel colors that nobody had ever seen before. "You're just lonely, aren't you?" Emma said, patting the dragon's snout. The creature made a sound like distant thunder mixed with a cat's purr. "Everyone's always running away from you because you're so big and scary. But you don't want to hurt anyone, do you?" The dragon's massive eye, each one larger than a space shuttle, blinked slowly. For the first time in recorded history, the Void Serpent's expression looked sad instead of terrifying. High above in the VIP section, the Galactic Council members were having urgent whispered conversations. President Mordine, leader of the council, was a tall, elegant being with silver skin and no visible mouth. He communicated through telepathy, and right now his thoughts were broadcasting panic to his advisors. How did a human child get into a maximum security facility? His thoughts demanded. "Unknown, Mr. President," came the reply from Security Chief Vexana. "Our sensors show she simply appeared in the arena 20 minutes ago. No ship, no transport pod, no teleporter signature. She was just suddenly there. And the dragon hasn't killed her because? We don't know, sir. This goes against everything we understand about Void Serpents. The Void Serpent of Keth Moran had been captured 3 months ago after destroying an entire solar system. It had taken the combined fleets of 17 different worlds to finally contain it. The creature was supposed to be the ultimate weapon, a living planet killer that the Council planned to study and possibly use against their enemies. Instead, it was now rolling over like a puppy, while a human child scratched behind its massive horns. Dr. Thane Kozlov, one of the few humans in the viewing area, was recording everything with shaking hands. As Earth's representative to the Galactic Council, he had seen many strange things. But this was beyond anything he could explain. "My God," he whispered. "Emma, what are you doing?" He recognized the child. Emma Hartley had been part of the human delegation's tour group. Her parents were diplomats visiting the Coliseum as part of a cultural exchange program. She must have wandered off when nobody was looking. The other humans in the delegation were just as shocked as the aliens. Mrs. Chen, the tour coordinator, was frantically speaking into her communicator. "Security. We need immediate evacuation. One of our children is in the arena with the dragon, but the security forces weren't moving. They couldn't move. Every weapon they had was designed to kill the dragon if it escaped, but none of their systems could target the creature without also harming the child. And somehow, everyone watching understood that harming this little girl would be the worst possible thing they could do." Emma continued talking to the dragon as if it was the most natural thing in the world. "My name's Emma. What's yours?" "Oh, you don't have a name?" "That's silly. Everyone should have a name." She thought for a moment, then smiled. "I'll call you Sparky." Because your scales are all sparkly. The dragon made a sound that might have been agreement. Its tail, which was thick as a subway train and covered in spines that could pierce starship hulls, wagged slightly. Ambassador Kretok of the warrior case stood up so fast he knocked over his chair. This is impossible. Void serpents are pure killing machines. They have no emotions, no capacity for friendship. They exist only to destroy. Clearly, your information is wrong, said Dr. Yilnara, the council's chief xenobiologist. She was a tall, insect-like being with compound eyes that allowed her to see in 17 different spectrums. Look at the creature's bio readings. Its stress hormones have dropped to 0. Its aggression centers are completely inactive. This is not the behavior of a mindless killing machine. Then what is it? Demanded the ambassador. Dr. Yilnara was quiet for a long moment, studying her scanner readings. It appears to be the behavior of a very lonely, very misunderstood creature that has finally found a friend. In the arena, Emma had discovered that the dragon's scales changed color when she touched them. She was now drawing pictures on its side, creating swirls of blue and green and purple light. The dragon watched her work with obvious fascination. See, I'm drawing a flower, Emma explained. And this is a house. And this is my mom and dad. They're probably worried about me. Are your mom and dad worried about you? The dragon's massive head drooped slightly, and the colors on its scales turned darker. Oh, Emma said softly. You don't have a mom and dad anymore, do you? That's okay. Sometimes people don't have families, but that doesn't mean they can't make new friends. She reached up and hugged the dragon's snout, her tiny arms barely spanning one of its nostrils. I'll be your friend, Sparky. Friends don't leave each other alone. The viewing platform erupted in chaos. Half the alien species were demanding immediate evacuation, while the other half wanted to study this impossible interaction. Emergency alarms were blaring, and security forces were moving into position, though nobody was quite sure what they were supposed to do. Through it all, Dr. Thane Kozlov kept recording. As a scientist, he understood that they were witnessing something that would change everything they thought they knew about both humans and dragons. Computer, he whispered to his recording device. Note that the subject appears to have formed an emotional bond with a creature previously classified as incapable of emotion. Time index, 23 minutes, 14 seconds. Human child continues to interact with Void Serpent without any protective equipment or apparent fear. The child's fearlessness was perhaps the most remarkable thing of all. Everyone else in the galaxy ran screaming from Void Serpents. Entire civilizations had been wiped out by these creatures, yet this 8-year-old human was treating it like a pet. Maybe that's the key. Dr. Kozlov thought out loud. She doesn't know she's supposed to be afraid. We Camps have said. She doesn't know she's supposed to be afraid. Security Chief Vexana was coordinating with her teams through her headset. All units, maintain position. Do not approach the arena. Repeat, do not approach. We're dealing with an unknown situation. Chief, came a voice through her earpiece. The dragon's energy readings are completely stable. No signs of aggression. If anything, it seems calmer than we've ever recorded. How is that possible? Unknown. But Chief, there's something else. The child's biological readings show no signs of fear, stress, or adrenaline. Her heart rate is normal. She's completely relaxed. Vexana stared down at the arena, where Emma was now braiding flowers from her dress into the dragon's smaller scales. The massive creature was holding perfectly still, apparently understanding that it needed to be gentle. This human child, Vexana said slowly, she's not just unafraid. She genuinely doesn't see the dragon as dangerous. But sir, it is dangerous. This creature has killed billions of sentient beings. Has it? Vexana asked. Or has it been defending itself the only way it knew how? The question hung in the air as everyone watched Emma continue to decorate her new friend. The dragon's scales were now covered in patterns of light that pulsed gently, like a slow heartbeat made of rainbows. Down in the arena, Emma finished her flower crown and stepped back to admire her work. There. Now you look beautiful, Sparky. Do you like it? The dragon lowered its massive head and looked at its reflection in the polished arena floor. For the first time in its existence, it saw itself not as a monster, but as something that could be beautiful. The creature's response was to gently touch its nose to Emma's forehead in what could only be described as a thank you kiss. That's when every single being in the viewing platform realized that nothing would ever be the same again. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in recorded history. Representatives from 47 different species had gathered in the Great Chamber, all talking at once, in a dozen different languages. The translation systems were overloaded, trying to keep up with the chaos. At the center of the debate was a simple question that no one could answer. How had a human child accomplished what entire military fleets could not? President Mordine called for order, his telepathic voice cutting through the noise like a sword. Silence. We will discuss this rationally, not like a pack of screaming goblins. The chamber fell quiet, though tension crackled in the air like electricity. The facts are simple, President Mordine continued. The Void Serpent of Keth Moran, previously classified as a Class Omega extinction threat, has been somehow pacified by an 8-year-old human child. Our xenobiologists confirm that the creature now shows brain patterns consistent with advanced emotional intelligence and social bonding. Ambassador Kretok slammed his fist on his desk. This is impossible. Void serpents are weapons of mass destruction. They don't have emotions. Dr. Yilnara stood up, her compound eyes glittering in the chamber's lights. With respect, Ambassador, our previous understanding was clearly incomplete. I've been studying the creature for the past 6 hours, and the changes are remarkable. Not only does it show emotional capacity, but it demonstrates problem-solving skills and creativity we never imagined possible. She activated a holographic display showing brain scans of the dragon. Look at these neural pathways. Before contact with the human child, the creature's brain showed activity only in areas associated with survival, aggression, and basic motor function. Now we see complex patterns in areas we didn't even know existed. Areas that correspond to what, exactly? Asked President Mordine. Empathy, artistic appreciation, protective instincts towards smaller beings. The creature has essentially been awakened. The chamber erupted in arguments again. Some species demanded that the dragon be destroyed immediately before it could cause more damage. Others wanted to study the phenomenon further. A few suggested that humans might possess some kind of unknown psychic ability. Dr. Thane Kozlov, Earth's representative, had remained quiet during the debate. Now he stood up slowly. May I offer a different perspective? The chamber turned to look at him. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic community, and most species considered them primitive. Please proceed, Dr. Kozlov, President Mordine said. Everyone is asking how Emma did this, as if she used some kind of technology or special power. But I've been watching the recordings for hours, and I think we're asking the wrong question. Dr. Kozlov activated his own holographic display, showing footage of Emma's interaction with the dragon. Watch her body language. Listen to her words. She doesn't see a monster. She sees a lonely, misunderstood creature that needs a friend. That's exactly the problem, shouted Ambassador Kretok. The child is delusional. No, Dr. Kozlov said firmly. The child is honest. She looked at this creature without any preconceptions, without fear, without the biases that come from knowing its history, and maybe, just maybe, she saw it for what it really is. A planet-killing monster? Someone called out. A traumatized being that never learned how to communicate except through violence. The chamber fell silent. Dr. Yilnara was studying her scanner readings with renewed interest. Dr. Kozlov, are you suggesting that the Void Serpent's destructive behavior was actually a form of communication? Think about it, Dr. Kozlov said. These creatures appear out of deep space, attack inhabited systems, then disappear again. What if they're not attacking? What if they're trying to make contact the only way they know how? By destroying planets? Ambassador Kretok's voice was incredulous. By getting attention. When you're the size of a small moon, and you've been alone in space for thousands of years, maybe destruction is the only way you know to say, please notice me. Meanwhile, In the arena below, Emma and Sparky had become the most closely monitored beings in the galaxy. Every conversation, every interaction was being recorded and analyzed by teams of scientists. Emma was teaching Sparky to play simple games. She would hide behind one of his massive claws, then pop out and say, "Peek-a-boo." The dragon had learned to close his enormous eyes and pretend to look surprised when she appeared. "You're getting really good at this," Emma laughed. "Now try hiding from me." The dragon considered this carefully. He couldn't exactly hide behind anything, being the size of a small building. Instead, he lowered his head to the ground and covered his eyes with his claws. "I can't see you anywhere," Emma said with exaggerated confusion, walking right past the dragon's obvious hiding spot. "Where could Sparky be?" The dragon peeked between his claws and made a sound like suppressed laughter. Security Chief Vexana watched this interaction with growing amazement. Computer. Analyze the creature's vocalizations during the hiding game. Analysis complete. The sounds match patterns associated with joy and amusement in 17 different species. Closest correlation is to human laughter. The dragon is laughing? It appears so, Chief. Dr. Yilnara had joined the monitoring team and was running continuous scans. Vexana, you need to see this. The dragon's brain chemistry is unlike anything we've recorded. It's producing compounds we've only seen in highly social species, such as oxytocin analogs, dopamine variants, the chemical signatures of happiness and bonding. Up in the viewing area, Emma's parents had finally been located and brought to watch their daughter. Mrs. Sarah Hartley was torn between terror for her child's safety and amazement at what she was witnessing. "Should we try to get her out?" she asked Dr. Kozlov. "I don't think we could if we wanted to," he replied honestly. "Look at them." Emma was now curled up against the dragon's side, using one of his smaller scales as a pillow while she told him a story about a brave knight and a misunderstood dragon. Sparky was listening intently, occasionally making soft sounds that seemed like questions. And then the knight realized that the dragon wasn't mean at all, Emma was saying. He was just sad because everyone was afraid of him. So instead of fighting, they became best friends and went on adventures together. The dragon's massive eye focused on Emma with an expression of profound understanding. Here was someone telling a story where the dragon wasn't the monster. "The neural feedback is incredible, Dr. Yilnara reported. "The creature is not just listening to the story. It's understanding the emotional content, the metaphor, the hope." Security Chief Vexana felt something she hadn't experienced in years. Doubt about everything she thought she knew. "Doctor, in your professional opinion, is this creature actually dangerous?" Dr. Yilnara was quiet for a long moment. "Not anymore. Possibly not ever. In the way we understood danger, this creature is incredibly powerful. Yes, but dangerous implies malicious intent. I'm not seeing any evidence of that. Then what destroyed all those worlds? A desperate attempt at communication by a being that didn't know any other way. The implications were staggering. If Dr. Yilnara was right, then the galaxy's most feared predators might actually be its loneliest inhabitants. In the arena, Emma had fallen asleep against Sparky's warm side. The dragon had positioned himself carefully to create a protective shelter around her. His massive body curved in a circle with his head resting near her feet. His breathing had slowed to match hers, and his scales were glowing with a soft, warm light that pulsed gently like a lullaby made of starlight. "Sir," one of the monitoring technicians called out, "we're detecting an energy signature from the dragon we've never seen before." "What kind of energy?" Dr. Yilnara asked. "It's protective. The creature is generating a field that would shield the child from any external threats. Radiation, projectiles, even energy weapons wouldn't be able to reach her. The dragon is protecting her? More than that. The field extends just far enough to cover the child perfectly. No more, no less. The creature has somehow calculated the exact parameters needed to keep her safe without wasting any energy." Dr. Yilnara stared at the readings in wonder. That level of precision requires not just intelligence, but caring. The creature is actively monitoring her vital signs and adjusting the protective field accordingly. Emma stirred in her sleep and mumbled something. Immediately, the dragon's protective field adjusted to maintain the perfect temperature for her comfort. "My God," whispered Dr. Kozlov. "It's not just protecting her, it's taking care of her." The realization hit everyone at once. This wasn't just a friendship between a child and a monster. It was evidence that these supposedly mindless destroyers were actually incredibly sophisticated beings, capable of love, loyalty, and self-sacrifice. Everything they thought they knew about void serpents was wrong. And if they were wrong about this, what else might they be wrong about? 3 days had passed since Emma's first contact with Sparky, and the galaxy was in chaos. The news had spread across every inhabited system, sparking debates, protests, and complete revolutions in thinking about one of the universe's most feared species. The Colosseum had been transformed into a research facility practically overnight. Scientists from dozens of species worked around the clock, studying every aspect of the human-dragon interaction. But the most important discoveries were happening in quiet moments when 8-year-old Emma simply talked to her new friend. "Sparky, can you understand what all these people are saying?" Emma asked, as she sat cross-legged near the dragon's massive head. Sparky made a low rumbling sound and looked toward the viewing platforms where hundreds of beings were watching them. "Yeah, I know they're talking about us," Emma said. "Some of them are scared of you, but that's okay. People are sometimes scared of things they don't understand." Dr. Yilnara was monitoring the conversation through her translation equipment. "Computer, analyze the dragon's vocalizations and cross-reference with known communication patterns. Analysis complete." The creature is not just responding to the child, it's initiating conversation. The sound patterns suggest complex thoughts being expressed in a rudimentary but consistent language. It's trying to talk? More than trying, succeeding. The child appears to understand the creature's meaning through context and emotional tone. This discovery had prompted a team of linguists to begin working on the first Void Serpent translation matrix. If these creatures had language, they might be able to communicate with them directly. Ambassador Kretok had been strangely quiet during the past few days. He stood now at the viewing rail, watching Emma teach Sparky how to play tic-tac-toe using his claws to draw in the arena sand. "This changes everything," he said finally to Dr. Kozlov, who had become the unofficial human liaison for the research project. "How so?" "My people have been at war with void serpents for 3 generations. We've lost entire colonies to their attacks. If they're not monsters, if they're just lonely." He trailed off, unable to finish the thought. "Then maybe the war was based on a misunderstanding," Dr. Kozlov said gently. "A misunderstanding that cost millions of lives." Down in the arena, Emma had noticed that Sparky seemed sad. "What's wrong, big guy? You keep looking up at all those people like you're worried about something." Sparky lowered his massive head until it was level with Emma. He made a series of soft sounds, almost like whimpering. Emma listened carefully, then nodded as if she understood perfectly. "Oh, you're worried they're going to take you away from me, aren't you?" The dragon's confirmation was a low, mournful sound that resonated through the entire structure. "Well, that's silly," Emma said with the absolute confidence that only children possess. "I won't let them take you away. Friends, stick together. Well, within to start, I won't let them take you away. Within to starting. Well, that's silly confidence." She stood up and marched over to the nearest monitoring station, Sparky following behind her like an enormous, scaled puppy. "Excuse me," Emma called up to the viewing platform. "I need to talk to whoever's in charge." Security Chief Vexana looked around frantically. The child was directly addressing them, and no one had prepared protocols for this situation. President Mordine made a decision. "Activate the communication array. Let's hear what the child has to say." Number. A speaker system crackled to life in the arena. "This is President Mordine of the Galactic Council. Can you hear us, child?" Emma brightened. "Hi, are you the one in charge of this place?" "I am one of those in charge, yes. What did you wish to discuss?" "Well, Sparky is worried that you're going to take him away from me. And that would be really mean," because he doesn't have any other friends. The simple directness of the statement sent shockwaves through the assembled delegates. A child was negotiating with the most powerful political body in the galaxy on behalf of the universe's most feared creature. Emma, President Mordin said carefully, do you understand what your friend Sparky has done in the past? You mean like destroying planets and stuff? Emma asked matter-of-factly. Yeah. He told me about that. He feels really bad about it. He told you? Not with words exactly, but he showed me. He was just trying to find other people like him. But he's so big that he accidentally broke things. It's like when I was little and I hugged my hamster too hard and it died. I didn't mean to hurt it, but I didn't know how to be gentle yet. Dr. Yilnara was frantically taking notes. She's describing the dragon's actions as accidental rather than malicious. And she says it communicated this to her directly. Computer, Dr. Kozlov said quietly. Run a psychological profile analysis on the recorded interactions. Focus on indicators of deception or manipulation from either the child or the creature. Analysis complete. No indicators of deception detected. All observable behaviors consistent with genuine emotional attachment and honest communication. President Mordin considered his next words carefully. Emma, what do you think should happen to Sparky? He should come live with us on Earth. We have lots of space. And he could help with things like moving big rocks or helping build stuff. He's really good at being careful when he wants to be. The suggestion was so absurd that it took several seconds for anyone to respond. A planet killer living peacefully on Earth? But then Dr. Kozlov thought about it seriously. Actually, Mr. President, it's not as crazy as it sounds. Explain. Earth has vast uninhabited areas, deserts, Arctic regions, deep ocean trenches. We could accommodate a creature of this size. And if it's truly bonded to Emma, as our research suggests, it would have powerful motivation to protect Earth rather than harm it. Ambassador Kretok was shaking his head. You're talking about inviting a weapon of mass destruction to live among civilians. No, said Dr. Yilnara firmly. We're talking about offering sanctuary to a refugee. Because that's what this creature is. Isn't it? A refugee from its own loneliness. The debate that followed was intense. Some council members argued for keeping Sparky in captivity for study. Others wanted him destroyed, as too dangerous to live. A few radical voices supported Emma's suggestion of letting him live on Earth, while the adults argued Emma and Sparky had returned to playing games. But now their play had taken on a new dimension. Sparky was teaching Emma things too. He showed her how his scales could create different patterns of light by thinking about different emotions. Blue for sadness, gold for happiness, soft white for contentment. Soon Emma was creating her own light patterns on Sparky's scales, and they were having conversations in pure color. Remarkable, Dr. Yilnara breathed. They've developed a shared language based on chromatic emotional expression. This is more sophisticated than many established galactic communication protocols. Security Chief Vexana had been monitoring communications from across the galaxy. Mr. President, we're receiving reports from 17 different systems. Other void serpents have been spotted near inhabited worlds. But they're not attacking. They're waiting. Waiting for what? We think they're waiting to see what happens to this one. The creatures appear to be in communication with each other across vast distances. The implications were staggering. If the void serpents were a connected species, then Sparky's treatment would determine how all of them behaved toward galactic civilization. Emma, oblivious to the cosmic significance of her friendship, was now teaching Sparky to sing. Her clear, sweet voice echoed through the arena as she sang a simple Earth nursery rhyme. Sparky attempted to harmonize with deep, resonant tones that turned the children's song into something hauntingly beautiful. Mr. President, Dr. Kozlov said quietly, I formally request permission to take Sparky and Emma back to Earth. That's an enormous risk, Dr. Kozlov. Yes, sir. But it's also an enormous opportunity. We have a chance to turn the galaxy's most dangerous enemies into its greatest allies. All we have to do is trust an 8-year-old girl's judgment about making friends. President Mordin was silent for a long moment, watching Emma and Sparky create music together. Finally, he spoke. Dr. Yilnara, in your professional opinion, is this creature safe to transport to Earth? Sir, based on my observations, this creature is safer than most galactic citizens. Its loyalty to the child appears absolute, and by extension, its protection of humanity would be equally absolute. And if you're wrong, then we'll have lost one world instead of potentially losing all of them if these creatures decide we're irredeemably hostile. It was Security Chief Vexana who cast the deciding voice. Mr. President, I've spent my entire career preparing for threats to galactic security. This isn't a threat. This is a miracle. We should protect it. The vote was close, but the decision was made. Sparky would be allowed to travel to Earth with Emma and her family. When they told Emma the news, she clapped her hands with delight. Did you hear that, Sparky? We get to go home together. Sparky's scales erupted in brilliant gold light, and his joyful roar echoed across the galaxy. On 17 different worlds, other void serpents heard that sound and understood its meaning. The long war between dragons and civilization was over. It had ended not with weapons or treaties, but with a little girl who saw a lonely creature and decided to be its friend. As the transport arrangements were being made, Emma curled up one last time against Sparky's warm side in the arena that had become their playground. You know what, Sparky? She said sleepily. I think this is going to be the beginning of a really good adventure. Above them, representatives of dozens of species watched in continued amazement as a human child and the universe's former most dangerous predator settled down for a peaceful nap together. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly the point.